You're full. So let's find one that we disagree on. I think you believe the official story of the JFK assassination, do you?
More or less, yes.
More or less.
Yeah.
My belief, and this changes over time, I think that Lee Harvey Oswald was in on it. I think he was a part of it, but I think there were multiple people that were in on it. That's what I believe.
Do you think there are multiple shooters?
Yes. And one of the reasons why I believe that is because of the formation of the single bullet theory. And the single bullet theory was formed because the fact that they had to account for one bullet that hit the underpass, ricocheted off, and put some man in the hospital. And that before that, they did not have an explanation for why all of these bullet holes, all these wounds were in all these different people's bodies. The other reason why I'm inclined to believe there's a conspiracy was the fact that they found that bullet on Connolly's gurney when they brought him into the hospital. It's too convenient, and the bullet itself is fairly pristine. Now, knowing as much as I know about bullets from personal experience of hunting, you can't hit anything with a bullet. I pulled a lot of bullets out of animals. When you shoot an animal and you hit bone, those bullets, they distort brutally. I mean, they don't look like that after they go through two people and hit all sorts of bone. That's the bullet that came out of Connolly's body, or Connolly's gurney, excuse me. And that's the bullet that they're attributing to this single bullet theory. If you look at the path of the bullet that goes through Connolly or goes through Kennedy and then goes through Connolly, that to me is not unbelievable. It's not unbelievable.
That one is. But you got to look at the other one.
But even that one. But no. See what I'm saying? Even that one is not unbelievable. It is believable to me because I know that bullets do strange things when they hit things.
Right, but you got to combine that with the fact that the bullet came out fairly pristine, which means it didn't actually go through a kind of a bouncy path like that.
Right.
It went through a straight path. This diagram is from
a conspiracy theorist book.
Essentially.
Yes. But
there are other diagrams that will show the actual path with him. Like, they've got the butts there on the same level, and you know that Kennedy was actually sitting above Connolly.
He was elevated, yes. So see if we can find one that has the actual seating arrangement or more accurate seating. Well, the one right there with the red line in the right-hand side, the one on the right-hand side, that's a more accurate.
From above, yeah.
Yeah, from above.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that there was particles. There was more metallic particles from the bullets, more fragments from the bullet in Connolly's body than were missing from the bullet. I do not believe that was the bullet, and I think that is a very reasonable assumption.
Well, you know what you should do? You should get one of those guns, get the same bullets, get some ballistic dummies with some bones inside, and start shooting.
They've already done that.
Yeah.
Penn and Teller did that.
Yeah, but some people have done it, and they have found pretty close to what actually happened.
No, they didn't.
Within the round.
No. Every bullet that hit bone got distorted. That's just what happens. When you shoot those bullets into water, or you shoot those bullets into like fluff or something like that doesn't have a lot of impact to slow the bullet down, then you get a bullet that looks like that. If you shoot a bullet into bone, they distort wildly.
But the bone was the last thing that it hit.
But it doesn't matter. It's still hitting bone.
But it stopped at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't it hit bone in Kennedy's body as well?
Went through his neck, didn't it? So
the odds of it hitting only soft tissue, and it's going to go through his neck, and it came out here, that it didn't clip one of his vertebrae or something like that, I don't think that's real.
Yeah.
I think also there's a difference between, and this is fact, from David Lifton's book, Best Evidence, which was a book by an accountant who went over the Warren Commission report and found all these factual inaccuracies and all these contradictions. He found that there was a difference in the autopsy report at Bethesda, Maryland, the Bethesda Naval Hospital, versus what they had reported on the scene in Dallas. The first doctors that got a hold of Kennedy's body in Dallas before they flew him to Bethesda said that the hole in his neck was an entry wound. When they got to Maryland, they changed that to a tracheotomy hole. They changed the impact, and they said that this was not an impact from a bullet, that it was from something else.
Yeah, someone said they enlarged the hole to insert a trach tube.
Yeah, well, I think. Well, there was also a lot of pressure on these people to try to wrap this up nice and tight and say that Lee Harvey Oswald was the shooter.
There was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this big thing about the CIA inventing the FBI. The FBI, well, inventing the term conspiracy theory was a CIA thing.
I think it was the CIA.
Yeah, and this was a couple of years after the assassination. There was a memo that went out where they were concerned about all these conspiracy theories that were coming out. And they used the term conspiracy theories, and then they said they should try to basically debunk them and make the people who spread them around look like conspiracy theorists, basically.
Right.
So that the theory is that the term conspiracy theory came from that particular memo. But that memo, they never actually encouraged people to use the term. But yeah, there was a huge concern from the CIA that they would lose the trust of the public if everybody started believing that it was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
At least that's what they said. I mean, maybe there is a conspiracy and maybe they're just trying to cover it up. But
did you see the most recent dump of information on the Kennedy assassination that Jack Ruby had stated to people that before the day of the Kennedy assassination, keep an eye out today, there's going to be fireworks?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, those Jack Ruby, who eventually wound up shooting Lee Harvey Oswald in front of the police officers.
Yeah. But, something like that, there's no... he's dead, obviously, so you can't ask him what he actually meant. And things like that take on a special significance after an event.
True.
Whereas he could be just talking about, like, he was going to go visit his ex-wife or something, or he was going to go to the bar, or he was looking forward to shouting at the parade or whatever.
Right. Could have been nothing.
Yeah, people say things, and, after something happens, people go back and they look at everything that happened, and then they say, well, that sounds like something significant.
Right. Like
with the Vegas shooting, there was a woman walking around the crowd in the Vegas shooting saying, you're all going to die. This is what some people said. And this was like half an hour before the actual shooting itself. So people take that event, and then, since a lot of people did die, they think that this woman actually knew what was going to happen and she was trying to warn people.
Right.
But you also get crazy people wandering around saying things all the time, especially in Vegas.
Yeah, and the problem with "you're all going to die" is that that's a common one. Some guy was yelling that. We took pictures of him when we were in Vegas long before the shooting. It was a few months ago. We were we were in a car, and he was standing on the corner, and he had a stack of signs. I put it up on my Instagram. I know I did, because there was stacks of signs. He had not just one sign, but he had like a long totem pole of signs with all these different things, and I was taking photos of it, and the guy was yelling out, "Everyone's going to die." I mean, he was yelling it out, that, God's wrath and all this, crazy religious stuff.
That's a common thing for crazy people to shout.
Yes.
That's what they do shout.
It's not like this woman was saying specifically, someone is going to shoot everyone at this concert, get out of here, this is a dangerous area.
If she was trying to warn them, she would have been a bit more specific.
Yes, very specific, right? If she knew something. Do you find it? No? I know I put it up there because we were mocking it. Maybe I put it on my Instagram story and it went away. I don't think so, though. I think it's there from, I want to say it was at least 6 months ago. But we were mocking this guy because like, this guy's got a lot of fucking signs. Like, one sign's not enough. I go, this is the guy. This is the reason why Twitter only has 140 characters for motherfuckers like this.
I think I remember it was like July because it was like 120 degrees out too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very hot.
Really
This goofy asshole had this giant stack of signs. So the back to the Kennedy thing.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? Do you think that Lee Harvey Oswald probably acted alone?
I think he probably acted alone. I think the physics of what happened is fairly consistent with the single shooter theory. Now, admittedly, the magic bullet is a bit strange, but I don't think it's out of the bounds of possibilities.
I do, because of the fact that the metal particles. There's more bullet fragments in Connolly's body than were missing from that almost pristine bullet. And even though the fact that it hit Connolly at the very end, if it went through all that flesh and it didn't hit any bone until it hit his wrist, then it would not have been compromised very much ballistically. It would still be going incredibly fast. It still would have smashed into that bone. It did enough to break his wrist, and it would have distorted the bullet. That's just what happens with bullets.
See, unfortunately, I don't really follow JFK conspiracy very much. And the reason I don't is that there are already, I think literally over 1,000 books on JFK.
I've read a few. I got into Case Closed. That was Vincent Bugliosi's book. Is that who it was? But I was like, this guy's got an agenda. It just didn't. There's many books that you could read about the Kennedy assassination, and some of them favor the conspiracy, and some of them favor the assassination. I think a lot of them have merit on both sides. One thing that drives me crazy was people say that you could never make that shot. That's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. This is why I know it's bullshit, because it was only like a couple hundred yards.
Yeah.
Like a couple hundred yards, shooting at something the size of a person's head is easy.
What about Jesse Ventura trying to do the three shots, getting 3 shots off?
He didn't know what he was doing. Look, I mean, first of all, if you were used to that rifle and you practice that, someone said, oh, the scope was off. I think that's bullshit too. The reason why I think that's bullshit is because it's easy to knock a scope off. You have to have a direct chain of evidence between the time Lee Harvey Oswald had that scope shooting that rifle, the moment he shot that rifle, and then you have to hand it off to someone who checks the scope right then. Because if you drop a rifle, the scope goes off. Just drop it. I've done that before. I dropped a rifle once when I was hunting in Wisconsin, and my scope was off by 6 inches at 100 yards. Just dropping it. So the idea that he could have never made that shot because the scope was off. Scopes get adjusted. That's what happens when you drop a scope. They move. That's a whole thing about ballistics. You have to check them. You go to the range. You set up a lead sled. You lay the rifle down so it's perfectly stable. You squeeze off a shot. You use the binoculars. You find out where the shot hit on the target, and then you adjust the scope. They're adjustable. So the idea that his scope was no good is crazy. The idea that shot was too far to make, insane. It was I think it was less than 100 yards when they think he made the first shot, which is a chip shot. That's a shot that you would make without even a rest. Now he's making this shot resting on the window, so he's perfectly steady. The idea that was impossible is crazy. The idea that no one can do that in 3 shots, that's been disproven. Someone can do it. Someone who's really good at reloading and loading can do it. Just because Jesse Ventura couldn't do it, but Jesse's super conspiracy-minded.
Yes.
Like, he goes all in with the conspiracy theories.
That's the motivated reasoning part of things.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's doing it just for his show or because he really believes it.
I worked with the same people that did his show. The reason why I did Joe Rogan Questions Everything is they wanted me to take over Jesse's show after he was done, and I was uninterested. I was like, I'm not that guy. I'm not like the I believe every conspiracy guy. I think people have a real weird vested interest in proving that things are a conspiracy. I'm interested in finding out what things really are, like legitimately what they really are. Yeah. And even if I'm wrong, like I'm not interested in reinforcing things I've already said. If I find out that what I said was wrong, I'm interested in repeating that I was wrong as many times as I can to get it out to as many people as I can.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I think it's important. Yeah. So this JFK thing, there's bullshit on both sides of it. But the idea that this guy who went over to Russia, married a Russian citizen, came back here, he was absolutely involved in some shady, weird shit with Cuba. He's a fucking weird guy. Lee Harvey Oswald was a weird guy. The idea that he was completely innocent, I'm not buying that either.
I don't buy the idea that it's proven that he acted entirely alone. It's entirely possible that there are other people who were helping him or motivating him or giving him instructions even. Yeah. The thing I don't think is really proven is the additional shooter theory.
It's not proven, and there have been people that said they heard things from behind them. The problem with that is chaos. When you have gunshots, first of all, gunshots in an area like Dealey Plaza, the echoes ring out, and people claim to see things and hear things, and they even believe themselves. If you tell someone that you heard something in the bushes and then you run away, that person will say, I heard something in the bushes, and then other people will repeat it. It becomes the narrative, and it just gets real hard.
You can create memories for people.
Yes, you